Hello. Oh, I'm in a cave. Hi guys, how's it going? Nice reverb. I know. I'm in a cave right now. Sorry, I'm in a tunnel. I can't hear you. The connection's really bad. Alright, enough of that. Howdy. How's it going? As you can see, today we have a very special stream of Ocarina of Time. Hold on, let me find it. Today, I'm going to teach you, yes, you. Imagine I pointed at chat. I'm going to teach you how to speedrun Ocarina of Time Defeat Ganon. It is the only category that matters, and it should obviously... Wait, what? It's not Defeat Ganon. What's the new one called? New one, quote-unquote. Whatever. Anyways, it's the only category that matters. For who I am, if you don't know, my name is Nisei Nama, and I have speedrun this game for 28 years. And I am very good at the game, okay? Hold on. Let me get all these nerd numbers off the screen. We don't need to know any of this nonsense. You've never seen this so-called Nisei Nama's speedrun? I guess that's true. Alright, guys, so first thing you gotta do, first things first, okay? Don't we need a Japanese... Oh, you're so right. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. That's better, right? Now we can read it. As you can see, I'm a professional because I knew exactly where the language option was for Ocarina of Time. Absolute cinema. So yeah, the first thing you have to do is watch this intro, okay? And honestly, I'm gonna do something for you guys here. I'm not gonna be timing this run with quick text on, okay? I'm keeping it on for the viewing experience, okay? But just know I timed this without quick text. I already timed it without quick text. And it is faster than the world record, so don't even worry about it. Even though I'm not gonna call it a world record. But it is faster than the world record. By my count, anyways. When is the professional arriving? I'm already here. Brother. Alright, so first things first, you watch the cutscene. Everyone watches the cutscene in this game. And then you're gonna talk to your friend, Navi. And she's gonna tell you how to play the game. The Great Deku Tree. Blah, blah, blah. Oh man, I'm so excited, guys. I get to teach you so much. I'm sure you've all been waiting with bated breath for me, personally, to teach you how to play this game, okay? Defeat Ganon... Oh my gosh. Defeat Ganon, a great beginner category, okay? Way better than GSR. GSR is a terrible beginner category. Defeat Ganon, a great beginner category. Because you have to beat Ganon. Alright, so first things first, guys. I gotta teach you the controls, okay? Your control sticks. A presses A. B presses B. Your C buttons don't do anything right now because I actually don't have any items. And then that right there, D-pad up, that's pause the game. Start is also pause the game. Very important. Are you ready? I'm gonna show you a cool trick, guys. I'm gonna show you a cool trick that maybe a lot of you didn't know. So normally you have to climb this ladder all the way down. But you can actually just turn around and backflip off the ladder. Please applaud. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get out of the Kokiri Forest. To do that, you're going to need to beat the Great Deku Tree. Psych! Actually, you can beat this game without even beating the Deku Tree. A little known fact. But we are going to beat the Deku Tree, don't worry. However, first of all, we need to get out of the forest. And get out of the forest, we need a sword. So let's go get the sword. And this is the path to the sword, by the way. It's kind of a maze. Basically, you just have to go this way, and then you run away from the rock. And then you get the sword. It's a great puzzle. There's also some lore there on the sign. I don't recommend reading the lore if you're in a speedrun, but by all means, if you want to read it, you may do so. Now we're just gonna make sure to avoid the rock. It's as simple as that. And you'll notice I'm getting rupees as I'm going along. I have to buy the shield, and the shield costs something like 50 rupees. It's more than 30. That's all I know. Unfortunately, there's not very many rupees in Kokiri's forest, so we're gonna have to, like, kind of reload the area a couple times. There's actually a secret rupee right here, a little known fact. If you slash that sign, you can get 5 rupees. Did you know that? Okay, so now we're gonna get up onto the bridge. And this is a really hard trick, guys. This may be the hardest trick in the whole run. You have to jump slash up here. There's no other way up here. As you can see, it's just really hard, okay? It's just really hard. It's impossible to do without tools usually, but since I'm a pro, you guys may have trouble with this at first, but trust me, it gets way easier. Wow, okay. That's a hard trick, guys. It's a really hard trick. You guys are gonna, trust me, you're gonna wanna learn how to do that. So now I have 25 rupees. I need 40. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you can roll to go faster. However, it's not advised to roll to go faster because Link screams. And when he does that, he alerts the guards. We're gonna get our secret rupees in here. That's $1 right there. That'll help us on our journey for sure. If you're running low on rupees, you can also throw these rocks. And you can get 2 rupees. There's only 2 rupees in that rock patch. A little known fact. There's also extra rupees you can get by jumping on the path here. Very important that you get those rupees as well. Okay, that's 58. That's more than enough to buy the shield. And there it is. Oh, it's 40 rupees. I thought it was 50. I'm sorry. It's impossible to remember everything in this game. There's a lot of things in this game, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to leave the forest, okay? So I'm actually playing on a special version of the game that you use for speedruns. It allows you to do a lot of unique tricks. So what you're gonna do here, it's very important that I explain what you have to do here. So you can actually get past this guy, okay? Normally you'd have to fight the Deku Tree, but you can actually just get past this guy. If you do this trick, watch this. Take a note here. Oh, see, I failed it that time. I gotta try again. Oh, I failed it again. It's a hard trick, guys. It's a hard trick. There we go. How you do that is you hold down L. But you gotta make sure to hold it down for the right amount of time, or else you might not make it. Okay, so Hyrule Field. This is very important, okay? We have to make it to Kakariko before night. This is really important, guys. Make sure to write this down. You're tardy? Don't worry, you haven't missed much. I showed you how to escape the forest as the child without beating the Deku Tree. Okay, so we have to make it to Kakariko before nightfall. So I'm just gonna run here. If you run backwards, because Link can't see the demons, he runs faster. Did you know that humans actually run faster backwards as well? That worked pretty much exactly according to plan, actually. That was crazy. I've never done that with quick text. Sorry. I don't mean to break the tutorial by editorializing my thoughts. Okay, so now we're going to Kakariko Town. And in Kakariko Town, there's a very important item, let's say. There's a very important item. And you get it from killing the chickens. You kill all the chickens, and you can get a very important item. So I'm just gonna gather them all up. And then you'll see. You'll see. Uh-oh. Remember when I told you can run faster backwards than forwards? That's really important. All humans on Earth run faster backwards than forwards. And even in this, demon world that Link lives in. That's also true. Oh yeah, this guy's name is Link, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that. I named him something a little funny. I named him a one-letter word. I only named him one letter because I thought it would be cool. It like shows that I kind of don't care about the lore. Even though I'm playing a lore-based game. It basically just shows like how aloof and strong my aura is. Not many people can handle a one-character file name, but I am a little bit different. Uh-oh. If you make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. That's the biggest thing you need to know about speedrunning. Making a mistake is not that big of a deal. You just have to make up for it, let's say. Also, keep in mind that if you don't get the world record, it's okay. It's okay to not get the world record. It's just important to keep in mind that your skills are worse than another human being's at this game, and that will reflect poorly on you when your final judgment comes after death. Anyways, here's the bottle. Now that we have the bottle, we can go get some... Wait for it. Wait for it. You can get bugs! Wow, there's bugs under this rock. And fun fact, these bugs are always under this rock. So if you ever need bugs, trust me, they're under this rock. I can't speak to any other rock, but that one for sure. As a generational defeat Ganon runner, I know for a fact that there are bugs there, and I don't think that there are any other locations in the entire game, actually. So, no need to worry. The point of a beginner category is to play as little as possible. So now that we have our bottle and our sword and our shield, we must go to the Deku Tree. I know I said you don't have to beat the Deku Tree, but trust me, this is... you guys are gonna like this one. You're really gonna like this one, I promise. So you get to talk to this bozo here. The game's in Japanese again. I don't know why this happens. This happens sometimes, okay? It happens sometimes where the game turns into Japanese because it's a Japanese game. If you guys didn't know, this game is a Japanese game. It's not an American game. That's not important. Don't even worry about that. That literally does not matter at all. Anyways, this guy likes to talk. So we're gonna go back to this again. I'm just gonna show you guys this one more time. I definitely did not just press the wrong button combination. I just wanted to show you guys this movement again. For anyone who is curious on how to do this movement, this is how you do it. Movement in this game is very important. If you're not moving, you're dead. That's true in real life, too. Anyways, let's turn on our, quick text. That is very important. And we're gonna go turn it back into English because we don't know Japanese yet. We haven't obtained that skill. We're still beginner speedrunners. I will tell you, once you become more of a pro, you're gonna need to learn Japanese because Japanese is the faster version of the game. Why? Well, I don't know. People have told me that. Butch Gengar, you're getting ahead of everyone. You're getting ahead of everyone. Don't get too far ahead, okay? This is a little known fact about this game. You can jump on top of the chests. And as you can see, that saved a lot of time over just climbing the vines normally. These guys can be a little tricky. They don't always like to let you go past them. But if you keep trying, eventually you will succeed. Like I said, it's a hard trick. It's a hard trick to do. Yeah, you should be sorry. Sorry. I'm a pro speedrunner, so I know Japanese. Aha! Okay, so that's something you guys should know, by the way. If you stop when they turn purple, they go back to being normal instead of being sick and twisted. A little known fact, you can actually stun those guys with the deku nuts. And now, what you have to do is you do this. And then you fail it, but it's okay if you fail it, alright? There's actually a very well-known backup for this trick. Usually you're not supposed to be in this dungeon this early in the game. But if you do this trick, you can actually get around the basement. Watch closely now. So first thing you have to do is go in here. And now, actually, it turns out that you're trapped. So then you learn that you're trapped. And you go back over here, okay? And there's actually a very simple jump you can do if you can't do the other basement backup. This is a very simple jump. I don't think I really need to explain it. See? It's very simple. And now that we've done that, we can push this block. Okay, and you don't actually have to push the block all the way. You can push it just about, like, right here. And this is a tough trick, okay? There's a lot of moving parts to this trick. So what you have to do is you have to jump and then you have to light the torch. Like that. Got it? Okay, good. And now, the code here is 231, by the way. You can skip a little bit of lore if you know what you're doing. And now we're gonna do a quick little fight known as Goma. Goma's weak point is her eye, and that's very important for a speedrunner to know. Is that... Tell us how to pronounce... It's Coup de Grace. That is the official pronunciation of Coup de Grace. Sorry, I have to focus for this part. You can actually just shield those and they'll die. It's not a big deal. Alright, so if you run out of these, honestly, there's another little known trick you can do. It's, ignore what this category is called for a second. You go here, and you go here. And now, Okay, so I killed Goma. What category is this anyways? This is defeating Ganon. So now that I've killed Goma, okay, something very interesting is about to happen, and you guys are gonna laugh, you're gonna laugh. Watch this. I died too! So when you kill Goma, it actually kills you too. It's Goma's final gambit. Kills you too, like the band? No. Okay, we already learned this one, so we're gonna use our L to levitate trick that we learned earlier. Ow. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you guys why we got the bottle, okay? This is why we got the bottle. This is why it's all important. It's in the guidebook. It's literally in the guidebook. It's one of the controls. L does levitate. It's just part of the game. Okay, so now that I have the bugs, what you have to do is you have to target this door right here. Very important that you target this door. And then you defeat the Deku Tree. So I won't lie, this didn't exactly go to plan. But this is an important learning experience, I think, for you guys. When things go wrong in a speedrun, it's always okay to try and work through the problem. Okay, so I made a small mistake here, right? It's a mistake that I think anybody could have made. And a lot of people, especially new players, don't know the backup for doing this. So I'm gonna show you guys the backup for defeat Ganon. The first thing you have to do is watch this cutscene. Backup is the reset button. No, that would be cheating. You can't cheat by starting the run over. It's very important in life to not give up. You already gave up in life? That's why you're weak. I'm sorry to say you won't survive the winter. Bro, what's going on with the tree? Use our L to levitate trick again to get past this guy because his conversation takes 20 minutes and it's a bad waste of time. As I said before, you can run faster backwards, so keep that in mind for this part. And this time you don't even have to L to levitate because the guy moved, because you beat the Deku Tree and it made him really sad. I thought this was a glitchless run. Nobody ever said it was a glitchless run. You're the one who thought that. So like I said before, you have to run backwards. It's very important that you run backwards at all times. If you don't run backwards, then you might as well be dead. Are we doing Temple of Door skip? Don't get ahead, Mushroom. If you already know what's gonna happen, then don't skip ahead. Okay, so the first part of the backup for defeat Ganon is you actually need to go here. A little known fact is that you can actually go to the well early if you're early enough in the day. So if you're early enough in the day, you can do a little bit of a trick here, a little bit of a glitch, we'll say. The first glitch of the run. So it turns out if you talk to Navi, you just become very heavy. Something about the gravitational force of the fairy. I don't know exactly. This is a tough foe. So basically how you have to get past this guy, because you literally can't kill him. Like, look. If you hit him, you can't kill him, right? So what you have to do is you have to do a glitch called falling through the floor. And if you do that, you can go down into the Deku Tree not the Deku Tree. What is this place? You can go down into the basement here. And then if you swim back up, you can get a little reward for your troubles. You get the bomb shoes. And now basically what you do here, this is a little known trick right here, so watch carefully. So you know how I said this guy's invincible? Well, it turns out that you aren't. Alright, we're one step closer to beating Ganon. Dark, narrow, scary. Well of 3 features. That sign was so scary that I had to blow it up. You could think of a 4th. Heavy? So if you're in Hyrule Field, it turns out you can actually traverse it. A little known fact. And another little known fact, if you can climb your way, if you're brave enough to go all the way to the top of the drawbridge, we can get a sweet prize. $60. Isn't that crazy? Hold on, watch this. Did you guys know that you can go into the shop? Alright, so now that we have the shield, we have everything we need to do to get to the next part of defeating Ganon. And I hope you're ready for this next part. This is how you temple through the time. That's the name of the glitch. So watch carefully, okay? Watch carefully. Okay. I've set up my angle now perfectly. This is a really weird camera angle. And you see, it's kind of hard to go through the door of time because you can hit it. There's actually a much less known way to go through the door of time. Are you guys ready for this? So that's like the hard way to get through, right? But as you can see... Hold on. Hold on. Did they patch it? Nope. As you can see, there's a bit of a gap here. And so what you can actually do is if you go fast enough... Never mind, they patched it. You actually can't do this. I'm sorry to all the fans who thought that you could do that. You actually can't do that. I was lying. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I had to test. You need bunny hood, maybe? Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't have bunny hood. This is a speedrun. That would take too long. It makes the speedrun quicker. I guess that is true for some people, but if you're just learning, the bunnyhood is kind of too high risk, high reward. So as you can see, it's basically impossible to get through the door of time. Unless it's not. You know what they say about bunnies? Dude, okay, can I just take a break from tutorializing for a second? It is so messed up that they act like the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise was like the guy on the right. And that the tortoise like actually really won the race and was better at racing than the hare. That's ridiculous, man. The hare literally mogged the tortoise so hard that he fell asleep at the finish line waiting for him. And then all the tortoise fans are like, oh, slow and steady wins the race, slow and steady wins the race. But like, honestly, grow up. The hare actually did win. He didn't cross the finish line, but he literally won. Like, the tortoise is not better than the hare just because the tortoise crossed the finish line first. Little bro sucked so bad at racing that his opponent literally fell asleep waiting for him. Let's see them do a swimming contest. Honestly, mammals don't really need to know anything about swimming. Yeah, sure, bro. I'll race you in the water. Don't worry, I'll meet you there. They think we're so stupid, man. They think we're so stupid. Why would I race you in the water, dude? That's not where I race. Anyways, like, seriously, dude, why do people always say that parable like the tortoise was the guy who you should want to be? You should want to be the guy who's so good that it literally doesn't matter if he wins or loses, like he already won. That's just my opinion on the matter. You don't think that was the moral of the story? Okay then, Mushroom, if you're so smart, what's the moral of the story? Oh, it's like saying that cockfighting and dogfighting is bad. Because... it's mean? I'll be taking my medal to go now. Okay, anyway, so now that I'm adult, okay, back to the tutorial. So there's a little known fact that you can't go through the door on this side either because this game sucks. So what you have to do is you have to save and quit. And now that you've saved and quit, magically, I don't know how they expected casuals to ever figure this out, but now magically you're on the other side of the door. Dude, saving and quitting in real life, imagine if you could respawn in real life like you do in a video game. You could kill yourself for a joke and it would be so funny. So let me just give you a little teaser as to where we're going. You're not gonna believe this one, but Hyrule Castle turned into a sick and twisted dimension. What happened to the castle? Soy face, pointing, castle, question mark, question mark, question mark. That YouTube thumbnail would go so hard. Don't even lie. Castle, guys? This dude does not know how to run a kingdom, I know. Okay, so first thing you need to do when you go adult is you need to go this way. So make sure that you go this way when you go this way. Okay, so now I'm in Kakariko Town again, but this time I'm an adult. And that's important because it's important. Okay, it's just important. Never seen you here as adult. Well, usually in a Defeat Ganon speedrun, you don't come here as adult. But since we're doing the backup strat, we have to come here as adults. Because you have to be an adult to be an adult. Do Dampe heart piece? You really think I need to do Dampe heart piece? Okay, guys, so there's a very important item in here, and it's a very important that you beat this guy as fast as possible because you need to speedrun. So watch this. Just basically do exactly what I do. It's important when you do this race that you lock in. That pole is really hard to get around. A little known fact about this race is that pole is pretty much impossible to get around. He also is going to try and trick you by going through doors that close in front of you, but all you have to do is not get trapped by the doors, and then you'll win. It's also a little known fact that you can actually go this way instead of the way that he goes to be a little bit faster. And now you just have to run as fast as you can. If you go any slower, you literally will not make it. And as you can see, 1 minute and 1 second, it's a tough race. 1 minute and 1 second is probably the top 75% of all runs of this game. So don't expect to get a 1 hour or 1 minute, 1 second time on your first go, okay? Not everyone can do it. We need more bottomless pits in real life. But imagine if you were the bottomless pit inspector and then you inspected it one day and it was no longer bottomless. And then you went to another pit because how does it go? Anyways, you go to you're now just a regular pit inspector, and then when you go to inspect the pit, it's bottomless. I don't remember the rest of it. It was probably pretty funny. Anyways, none of this is really that important, so you don't need to pay attention too much to how to get in here. You just go to the Shadow Temple as adult. And going to the Shadow Temple as adult is like a pretty normal thing. So it's not really that surprising that you can do it, is what I'm saying. And guess what? If you fall down, honestly, you should probably just quit playing the game for forever. In the natural progression of the game, usually when you go adult, you would go to... Which one's the first one? Fire Temple. You'd go to Fire Temple first, but since we're speedrunners, we like to go to the Shadow Temple first. As you can see, getting to the Shadow Temple is very easy. Pretty much anybody can do this, and you don't really have to think too hard about it. This is all book moves right here. These are all book moves. Everybody who's ever played this game knows how to do this part. Okay, so I'm actually gonna need to break out a visual for this for you guys because the Shadow Temple is pretty complicated, okay? So one thing you need to know. Hold on. Let me do something real quick. Okay, let's see how this works. Yeah, this is fine. Let me just, Okay, so let me basically explain to you what you need to do in the Shadow Temple. So there's two things you need to do in the Shadow Temple, alright? First thing you need to do, basically the dungeon is laid out like this. So this is where we're starting, right? I have to be really careful here because I already started off on a bad foot. You are here, okay? And you have to get to the boss room, but on your way there, hold on. Let me remember here real quick. Let me remember here real quick. Okay, so basically what you do, right, is you're gonna go across, there's like a gap, right? Basically you start here and then there's like a right turn and you're going to cross this gap. There's a hook shot target right here, okay? And then there's like this really big room, right? And there's another passageway that has a door. And I may have to make this canvas a little bit bigger. Hold on. Okay, so once you get here, you go through this door, right? There's a door right here. And then there's a maze. And basically the way that you go is like this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then there's another door, right? This place is where the hover boots are. Also known as the butter boots. Okay? So once you get the hover boots, right? You need to do a series of glitches where you fall down into the boss lair, or like the room before the boss room, right? And there's a bunch of invisible platforms, and it's all gonna be unloaded, by the way, so it doesn't really matter what you do. You're gonna need to basically get to where the boss door is, because here is where Bongo Bongo is. We're gonna give him a skull and crossbones. Okay? So once you fall down here, you're gonna navigate through the unloaded room. And you're gonna do, basically, it's like a glitch where you backwalk onto this ledge. And then you turn around. And you use a bomb shoe, right? And then basically you're gonna roll into this corner. And you're gonna do what's called a ledge clip. And then if you ledge clip under the door, you'll actually go through the door. And then from there, you go to the boss room. And you fight Bongo Bongo. And now Bongo Bongo is a pretty easy boss. All you have to do is hit the hands and then hit him. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how to beat the Shadow Temple. And very important that you do not die to Bongo Bongo, because if you do, everyone's gonna laugh at you and say, haha, you're bad, and you don't want that to happen. So basically you shoot him, and then you wait, and then usually you need the Lens of Truth here, but little known fact, he's actually in the middle of his two hands, so you can just wait. And then you just run into him and he dies. He's actually a very weak boss, which is weird because he's one of the final challenges in the whole game. But turns out if you just walk into him, he dies. And now now that you've defeated Bongo Bongo, okay? You're gonna have to go into the blue warp. And because it's defeat Ganon, we have to beat Shadow Temple first, because that's one of the dungeons in the game. And basically, blah, 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 it's a bunch of stuff that we don't care about. So let's just warp to outside of Shadow Temple. We did it. We got the medallion. We don't need to watch the cutscene. You guys already know what happens in the cutscene. She gets mad at you because you ignored her when she was a kid or something. What happens? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter because anyways, now we need to go to... Help. My Wii just turned off for a second there. That was cool. So now we're gonna go to Dodongo's Cavern. And basically what you need to do in Dodongo's Cavern is you need to get the bombs, okay? And there's many different ways to get the bombs. Many known strategies. I'm gonna show you one that is really good for beginners, okay? So you may have noticed that we got bomb shoes as child. That's gonna be important. Because once you have bomb shoes, you basically don't even really need bombs, but it's nice to have them anyways. And you may be wondering, why do I need bombs? And the truth of the matter is, you don't really need bombs. I'm just gonna tell you that bombs just tend to help. But if you would like to go without the bombs, there is nobody who will stop you. You should live your life however you want to live your life. Don't let me tell you how you're supposed to live your life just because you don't know how to do it yourself. Maybe read a book or something, I don't know. Surely there's probably at least one person on YouTube that wants to tell you how to live your life. So maybe just listen to them, I don't know. The only thing that I know how to do is play Ocarina of Time. And if you want to be like me, well, that's a whole different story. So normally you would need to use the bomb flowers here to lower the bridge. Wait, what is this? Stairs. But you can actually just use a bomb shoe instead. That's what we in the speedrunning business call clever thinking. And now we go up here. And like I said, you don't really need to worry too much about the movement. You just need to make sure that you're always moving. I think that's the most important part of any speedrun. Also, very important that you side hop on that switch. It'll be helpful for later. It's not necessarily required, but it is encouraged. Once you're a pro, you'll know where that gap is, so you don't really need to worry about anything at all. And then you just jump here, and then you hookshot the chest, and you get the bombs. Alright, so now that we have the bombs, you may be thinking, okay, well, let's go beat the foe in the dungeon. But you actually don't need to beat this foe. He's not really necessary. And now you're basically just gonna be wasting your bombs for a long time. It's very important, okay, that you go all the way up here. Because we need to get magic, right? We haven't gotten magic yet, and magic is important for beating the game. For defeat Ganon anyways, not all categories need magic, but defeat Ganon definitely needs magic. And actually, a little known fact, you don't even have to beat up both of these boulders. You can only blow up one and it still works. And now you just walk faster backwards than you did normally, because now you have bombs. And once you get here, you'll recognize a familiar enemy. It's the wall guys. But it's okay, these guys don't pose much of a threat when you're an adult. And you may be noticing that I'm really low on health. That's not as bad as you think it is. Trust me, because we're about to get another health refill right here. And then you realize that you haven't actually learned Zelda's Lullaby. But don't worry, there's a backup for that as well. So what you do is you go into inventory, and then you go to quest items, and then you give yourself magic. And then you go into amounts, and you give yourself magic. F is probably a good amount of magic. So now, where do you even go? Where do you even go from here? When the entire world's your oyster, where do you go? Well, you may not know this. But you can actually leave this area. And when you leave this area, you go to a different one. And that different one's gonna be pretty important. So you may recognize this game, for this part from the base game. This is not a DLC area, it's just a regular area. So it's not as good for speedrunning, but like it's still kind of important because you can pass through it on the way. These bombs can be a little tricky to blow up sometimes. But don't lose heart. So this is our old friend, Maidoff. But you don't really have to worry about him because you can just jump over him. He does like to talk to you if you fail it though, so be careful. And basically you can jump here all day until the cows come home and it won't make a difference. But if you do it this way, it still won't make a difference. Because this game is really hard. But eventually you'll get past him and then you'll feel very good about yourself, like you're very accomplished. And then you hope desperately for a heart. And then you realize you don't actually need a heart. Because we're about to do a very important glitch, okay? Very important glitch coming up. So this is called a ground jump. You pick up a bomb and then you do a jump. And so then you go over the walls. Normally you'd have to solve the maze, but you don't actually have to solve the maze. You can go over it. And you ignore this guy and he gets really upset at you. And now you just run backwards. With bomb in hand. And you'll notice that the cutscene kind of looked like it started. But actually it didn't. But actually it did. And now I have the minuet of Forest. So now that we have all our necessary items, we have to go to the desert. Okay, the desert is the next big area in the game. Right after the forest. And we're going to have to go beat another dungeon. I know you guys really love dungeons so much. So let's go beat a dungeon. The fastest way to get over here, by the way, is saving and quitting because you can go to the Temple of Time. And now we can just run backwards to the forest. Or wait, which part? The desert. This is the backwalk that we've already touched on this. You just run backwards. Running backwards is faster than running forwards. And now we're just gonna go to the desert. A little known fact, you can actually use the map to navigate if you don't know how to get to where you're going. So as you can see, I'm heading towards the desert. You do have to go around the fence to the desert because usually they want you to have the horse, but you can't always have the horse in life. Oh wait, this isn't the desert. Guys, where's the desert? Very important. I'm sorry, I played Defeat Ganon. Which way is the desert? You can also hookshot ladders. It must be this way. So let's just backwalk again. Aha, here's the desert. You can tell because it becomes a desert. So now that we're at the desert, we need to go through the desert to get to the end of the desert. Because at the end of the desert is where you'll find our next challenge. On the road to being a speedrun champion. You can actually just backwalk across this fence too. The gate, what is it called? A bridge. The bridge is out and normally you would need the long shot or Epona. But if you backwalk across and put on the hover boots that we got in the Shadow Temple, you can actually just go right across it. The hover boots are really helpful. Okay, so now we're here. And normally you'd think, oh, we need to go to do the Gerudo card quest. But you can actually skip the Gerudo card, did you know that? First, you have to get caught. Getting caught is very important. Because now you're in jail, and when you're in jail, you can break out of jail. And when you break out of jail, you can go to the desert. And now we can go up on this fence. And then you just run, and you jump. And then you can land on this part right here. And when you're on this part, you can just roll down. You kill that sign because that sign said mean things about you. And this is just another simple backwalk right here. And if you can't do the backwalk, it's okay. You can always go forward. Just keep in mind that, like, if you want to ever become a pro, you're gonna have to do the backwalk. I failed the backwalk. See, it's hard. It's hard to do, and even the pros don't get it every time. So yeah, as you can see, usually there's supposed to be a puzzle here. But if you... Whoops. I failed my backwalk, so now I'm just gonna go forward. There's a puzzle here as well, but if you're a pro gamer, you can actually get past this part without using the Lens of Truth. You may be wondering why... You may be wondering why I didn't get the Lens of Truth when I was in the area with the Lens of Truth, and the honest answer to that question is I don't know. Oops. If you fall in here, this isn't that big of a deal either. You can just go forward. So now you're just gonna go forward through the desert. And when you go forward through the desert, it makes it a little bit easier. It's also very important that you don't die here. If you die here, everyone will laugh at you and call you a noob. The penultimate temple of Ocarina of Time, the Spirit Temple. So, now that we're going to the Spirit Temple, we need to beat the Spirit Temple. Beating the Spirit Temple is really important for beating the Spirit Temple. There are many different strategies, by the way. I'm gonna show you the most beginner-friendly, new to Ocarina of Time way to beat the Spirit Temple. So basically what you do is you have to go get the Mirror Shield, right? And you want to take the path of least resistance to the Mirror Shield. And basically how you do that is you just go up the side instead of going inside the dungeon. As you can see, it is very simple and straightforward. This is the most beginner-friendly way to get into the Spirit Temple. And keep in mind that if you run out of bombs, it's not that big of a deal. Because... hold on, let me think. Are you supposed to be following along? You can do that. This tutorial is slow-paced, so that way you can follow along if you would like to, but you do not have to. Feel free to use this run as a reference for your own Ocarina of Time adventure. And just know that this is how you defeat Ganon, the category defeat Ganon. So if you ever want to learn defeat Ganon, you can follow along right now, or feel free to come back later and follow along as you're doing your own run at your own pace. Keep in mind, I am a professional, so the things that I'm doing are going to be a little bit more complex than most. But I am trying to keep it as beginner-friendly as possible. Like, every strat I've done recently has all been beginner-friendly. Pretty much any beginner can do it. I'm sure everybody remembers their dad doing this. So I don't really need to even explain what it is. You should already know what it is. Am I going to show you SRM? Honestly, SRM at this point might be kind of slow. You don't really need to know about SRM to do a beginner speedrun of Defeat Ganon Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo Wii. Yeah, so you don't even really need to know what SRM stands for. The only thing you need to know is that SRM is for very bad boys, but also very good boys at the same time. And remember that everything that you do on Earth will be judged by the Lord thy God when you go to heaven. Or at least purgatory, as some people believe. So consider that before you start doing SRM. Like, do you really want that to be on your permanent record? I find it's best to take a page from the prestigious Majora's Mask speedrunning community and understand that SRM is a sin and you should just pretend like it does not exist. Especially if you don't like it. The Bud Light sponsorship, that's for woke people, man. Uh-oh. So this guy is pretty dangerous. He'll shoot you with his laser beam if you get too close. So you have to make sure that you don't get too close. Also, a little known fact, you can get a couple of bomb drops from this pot. It actually is an infinite dispenser of bombs. You're woke, but guess who's driving the ship? So there's a funny thing that you need to know about this game. And it's that if you run into this woman's nipples, you get hurt. That's pretty important for speedrunning this game, okay? And then basically what you can do is you can get on top right here. And then you fall down. But that's okay because you can actually just land right here. Is OOT or MM more woke? Probably OOT. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Don't worry, the backup is you just use L to levitate. This thing is impossible to get on, by the way. Don't even try. As you can see, this trick is very difficult. It requires a lot of skill. And then basically you just shoot up in here. And then what you do is you do a jump. So like, do a jump like you've been doing, and then just jump slash through, and then it doesn't work. And then there you go. You just jump right through the door. Anyways, boring. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Guys, where did the enemy go? Apparently it's impossible. Anyway, so this is a common problem that happens in speedruns, right? You accidentally delete the enemy that is required to progress. If that happens, all you have to do is go to here, and then go to here, and then go to here. And to be honest, this tutorial, it's really for beginners, and even beginners know how to get the bow, so let's just go ahead and get the bow already. We all know where the bow is. Okay, we don't need to pretend like we don't know where the bow is. So let's get to the actual meat and potatoes here. How do I get into that menu? You can't. Well, you can't. I can. Actually, you can. It's in the game. You just have to know how to open the menu, and I leave that as a challenge to the viewer. Let's go to Dudong. And then basically from here, what you do is you save and quit. Am I using a Game Shark? No, I'm not using a Game Shark. This is a normal version of the game. And then basically, when you're here, you just watch the cutscene. And for the viewers' safety, for your own safety, I'm gonna turn on quick text. I don't like to do this normally, but I think it's important. Just know that even though this is an option, if you want to be taken seriously, you can't use it. Just don't do anything that I wouldn't do, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Exactly. Just think about that before you do anything. And just understand that there's only so much I can really do for you at the end of the day. And some things you're just gonna have to figure out for yourself. Do I think it's... Do you need to wear knee pads or a helmet when speedrunning? If you're doing it on a skateboard or with a bike, I would say yeah, probably. Okay, look at this. Make sure to look for this part. This part's important. If anybody asks you, what's the plot of Ocarina of Time? Now you know how to explain it. Another very important part of being a speedrunner. It's basically unskippable for a defeat Ganon speedrun. You can read lips. Well, there's no need to brag. Okay, buddy, whatever you say. A normal thing that you need to learn about speedrunning also is that you have to complain about how long the cutscenes are. That's part of the reason why I'm showing you this, is so you understand that you have to complain about it. You're supposed to. Never seen anyone get this far. Yeah, I know, but it's important if you want to speedrun yourself that you need to know how to watch this cutscene. Many people are saying about Defeat Ganon that the cutscenes are too long, and that makes it not a good category for beginners. But I'm here to tell you Defeat Ganon is a great category for beginners. That's part of what this presentation is all about. One, to teach you a couple things on how to actually do it yourself. And then two, so you gain a little bit of appreciation for the hard work of speedrunning. Yeah, see, that's the problem. You have to understand that cutscenes are just a part of life, and you can't skip cutscenes. No matter how much you want to skip the dialogue trees of people you don't want to talk to. Anyways, now you basically side hop into this thing. And then it fails. Or did it? It did. How'd you do that glitch where you fly to the castle? That's just how he goes to the castle. So basically you like side hop into the door. And you can skip the trials. Very unknown thing right there, guys. If you want to be a speedrunner, you have to be able to skip the trials because it's very important in a Defeat Ganon speedrun to skip the trials. And you may remember that we got Deku Nuts earlier. Now you can put them to good use. Also, we need to equip the light arrows because we're going to need them. This is usually a pretty hard battle in the normal game. So you need to keep that in mind. That it can take you a couple tries. I'm a pro, so I lived barely. But don't feel bad if you die to those guys. These guys, however, are a joke. As you can see, sometimes the fire gets in the way. It doesn't always get in the way, but sometimes it gets in the way. It's luck. That's one thing you're gonna have to learn about speedrunning, is that a lot of things are luck. Because these games were meant to be played fast, okay? So we're like doing something that the developers didn't expect. So things aren't always going to work out the way that you hoped. But this fight is actually pretty simple. Basically what you do is you die again. It's a hard fight. It's a hard fight. I wasn't putting respect on their name is the problem. They say that the Stalfos fight is the hardest. Those guys, by the way, are called Stalfos. They're not called skeletons, so don't call them skeletons. If you want to seem like a true gamer, like a true gamer head, you need to call them Stalfos instead of skeletons. Basically, this fight's luck, though, because, like, the only really viable strat is to just mash the button. I couldn't see what I was doing, but the only real viable strategy for this fight is to mash the button and hope for the best, and it doesn't always work out for you. So you just have to keep trying, and eventually it will. As you can see, it's a hard fight, and it's a lot of luck, but if you stick to the elite strategy of holding forward and mashing B, it will work eventually. These guys, however, are a joke. The Stalfos are the hardest part of the run. These guys are not hard at all. Watch this. See? They're easy. The Stalfos are really the hardest part of the fight. And then this guy, you already know. You already know this guy's a joke. This guy isn't even the ultimate bad guy. He's just his little brother. So you don't really need to worry much about Ganondorf. It's his bigger brother Ganon that you have to worry about. Dusseldorf? Whatever. Go ahead and make up words, see if I care. It's a real city? I'm sure it is. Yeah, buddy, for sure. I winked if you didn't catch that. Ganon? This is not Ganon, this is Ganondorf. Spoken like a guy who hasn't completely learned how to speedrun yet. Ganondorf is the little brother of Ganon, and you have to fight him to get to his big brother. You beat this game in like 40 minutes flat. Yeah, whatever. That's not even possible. Anyways, this guy's a freaking joke. I don't have any magic. Guys, help. Alright, that's an easy fix. So basically you just point your sword at him and he dies. Like I said, he is just the little brother. You don't really need to worry about him too much. W. There's that funny name. Remember I told you that it's when you become a pro, you like can make a funny name. And everybody's like, ha 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 ha, W is such a funny name for a guy. Can you imagine if a guy was named W? That'd be so funny. Ha 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 ha. And man, it gets a good laugh every time is all I'm saying. At least for me. So basically, this is your friend, and she is happy that the little brother is dead. So now you need to get down to the bottom of the tower, because the tower is collapsing. They call this the tower collapse. Where'd she cop that top? Probably like, I don't know, Gucci? Luckily, there's a very easy way to get to the bottom of the tower. Basically, you just fall. And then you die. Anyways, you get the idea. If this happens, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is go to here. And then all of a sudden you've won the game. Except for you haven't won the game yet because we have to do defeat Ganon. This is the defeat Ganon speedrun. Now this fight is way harder than anything else that you've seen before, okay? Trust me on this one. You have to do some very specific strategies to defeat Ganon, in order to defeat Ganon. I'll explain it. I'll explain it once we get into the fight because it'll be a little easier to understand. Where did all the rubble go? It pancaked. It pancaked right out. Is this the Bowser fight? No, this is the Ganon fight. Alright, so first things first, you have to go into the fight. And you may notice when you're doing a speedrun that you might get a little nervous at this point. Because this is the last part of your speedrun, and it's very scary. Especially because he becomes a horrible freak. You may also find that it's good to be quiet during this part. And feel the vibrations in the world. Would you recommend being drunk when you do this to help calm your nerves? No. Okay, so let me explain this fight to you, okay? Because it's gonna be really important to explain this to you. My sword is knocked away. However, I kept my sword. Because this fight is hard-coded to have every item in the game except for the Master Sword, because you're supposed to lose the Master Sword to all do 1 damage. So when you do 1 damage with everything, it sucks. However, I did a glitch to keep the Master Sword, so now I'm going to be able to do normal damage during the first fight, and then first phase. And basically how you fight this guy is you have to go around to his tail, because his tail is the only part of him that's vulnerable. And when you hit him in the tail 3 times, he's going to fall down, and then you basically from there have to constantly avoid him. If you get hit by him, you die in 1 hit. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you how it's done. All right, so the first thing you do is